Our next guest on Best Practices in Corporate Social Responsibility is a highly respected consultant and sought-after speaker. He's also been named as one of the top 100 most trustworthy global thought leaders for the year 2012. He's the author of one of my favorite business books. It's called The Future of Value, which was named one of the top business books of the year for 2011 by 800 CEO Read. He's also written a new book, which is called The Collaborative Economy. Joining us now, Eric Lowitt. Eric, welcome to the show.
Marc, thank you for having me.
So you've had an illustrious career, an MBA from Wharton. You have done consulting gigs with Accenture, Fidelity, Deloitte. I know you're fluent in Japanese. How have all those experiences come together for you to get the inspiration to write your first book, The Future of Value?
So I've had the chance through all of those associations to serve over 100 companies worldwide over the last 15 or 18 years. And I've noticed two things. The vast majority of those companies are struggling financially and strategically versus their peers. And two, the main reason why is because they're not factoring into their business models their environmental and social impacts of their operations. So to help those companies solve those environmental and social issues in a way that ultimately yields competitive strategy and strategic advantage, I researched and wrote The Future of Value.
Mm-hmm. Now, your new book, which I have not read yet, but I will be reading shortly, is called The Collaborative Economy. Why that topic?
What I've discovered as I've continued to work with all of these different companies is that they're all surprisingly dealing with very similar vexing environmental and social issues. Regardless of whether you're in the beverage industry or in the manufacturing industry or in the food industry, your company relies on a reliable, clean source of energy. And yet here we are, we're sitting on top of a massive energy crisis, a crisis that's so big that no one company alone can solve. Only through collaboration intra-industry, inter-industry, and ultimately across sectors, that is, the private sector, the public sector, and civil society, can companies put their best financial and technological know-how to work to solve some of these vexing issues.
You're talking about knowledge share, and it's funny because 20 years ago, companies would never share their best practices. They would never share their problems. They would never share their accomplishments with other companies because, success is a secret and so is failure. Yet you're a proponent of a collaborative global economy.
That's correct. And just to be clear, when I say collaborative, I don't mean exclusively collaborate with your competitors. Indeed, there will be times both downstream when you're serving customers and upstream in your supply chain efforts, you still need to compete. And in many cases, you have to compete hard. But many of the biggest challenges that are throwing not only expenses onto companies' income statements, but wrenches into their operations are either environmental or social in nature. And because of the size of these issues, these companies need to work with their peers to solve these problems. And indeed, they feel comfortable and confident doing so because they know that their peers are dealing with very similar issues.
Gotcha. All right, listen, before I let you go, I want to talk about your clear assessment model for companies. I think our listeners will be fascinated to hear about it.
Sure. So I wanted to find a way that any company of any size could start to integrate sustainability into competitive advantage and ultimately financial performance. So I created the CLEAR model. The CLEAR model stands for crafting your sustainability strategy. L is for leading your sustainability strategy. That is appointing one or more people within your company to have sole responsibility for your sustainability efforts. E is for executing your sustainability plan. A is for analyzing the results of your sustainability plan. And R stands for renewing your sustainability strategy in a continuous renewal type loop.
That sounds clear to me. Eric, I want to thank you for joining us on today's show.
Marc, thank you.
That was Eric Lowitt, who is a corporate sustainability and competitive strategy consultant and the author of the brilliant book, The Future of Value, and his newest book, The Collaborative Economy. And I suggest you visit him on his website at www.ericlowitt.com. That's ERICLOWITT.com. You can also follow him on Twitter at Eric Lowitt.